All right, it's July 31st, 2012, and I'm here again across from Starbucks. And I'm recording another video. Well, the end of the month has came and went, and neither of the two candidates are going to debate me, obviously, but I'm still going to throw out another challenge. I'll make that challenge in the next video I do later today, as soon as I look at a calendar and see, when would be the most opportune point. But whatever day I picked on that second video will be a precursor to a cryptic prediction of something else that's going to happen. I'd like to explain it to everybody, but you people, the majority of people, just don't have the brain capacity to understand. Well, you do have the brain capacity, it's there, but you're either too lazy or you're just too unaware or too ignorant of certain factors, educational factors and information that would allow you to be able to understand what I'm saying without thinking, if I made just an off-the-cuff comment about it, you would classify it or criticize it as crazy. And what I would say is not crazy. Anyway, as you know, HRM, Caesar St. Augustine, de Bonaparte, Emperor of the United States of Turtle Island, and actually your true president since 1996, according to my court rules. According to your societies, you've ignored me, and you've paid the price heavily. 2000, the 9/11 events, the Waco, Texas, many, many different events. The Miramar Federal Building being bombed by Timothy McVeigh, who's dead now. Interesting that when they put him to death in May of 2001, the 9/11 event took place just a few months later. Is there a connection? Yeah, actually there is. But I don't think, like I said, you people just don't have the brain capacity, or it's there, but you just don't want to use it. And you don't want to educate yourselves to find out the things that I have found out. You want it served to you for free on a silver platter, and I'm not going to do that. I've tried to explain that in all my more than 200, almost 300 videos. I notice that my number of videos is coming up to the point of the number of years that there has been peace worldwide in the last 10,000 years for the human species, and it's a little, like I've said, it's a little less than 300 years. So maybe there's a connection there. When I get close to the actual years of peace, there'll be some fantastic, terrible thing that will happen as soon as I surpass that point. Now, this morning I heard the story, or yesterday actually, I heard the story that this James Holmes has 142 counts. Well, I got news for you, America. I've got more than 142 counts of charges against all of the citizens that violated my life and that had something to do directly and indirectly with the death and destruction of my life, especially over the last 10, now it's 11 years, the last 11 years being the worst over the whole amount of time that I started having trouble, which would be more than 20 years, but the last 11 years being the worst. And they're still taking things from me. I'm still running into situations that don't have to be treated that way by the people in authority or the people in control, but they are fanatical about applying their rules no matter what or who they hurt, especially if the persons are disabled, like in the storage place where I'm at. I'll have to go there a little later and argue with the people that are there trying to auction off one of the storages where one of our group is it's complicated to explain. I won't explain it now. I'll explain it afterwards as soon as I see what happens. Anyway, the long and short of it is the 142 counts against James Holmes, I could charge the United States of America, state, federal, and local, way more than 142 counts against every citizen voting age that has that has paid taxes, that has become part of the collective of taxpaying, as indirectly responsible for a lot of my damages and violating of my civil rights, and the people especially directly involved, both that I know their identities and those that I don't, the ones that have, there's a few that are anonymous. Anyway, so they haven't answered my debate, and I knew they wouldn't. If I had to bet money on the fact that these big egomaniac candidates would not answer my challenges to debate, I'd have enough money maybe to find a more place suited to my needs than the places that are available here in Los Angeles. For my needs, there are very few places that are available to me in Los Angeles where I can be, pay rent, and not feel that I am possibly going to be threatened, that the invisible looming of threat is just there, hanging over me, like the sword of Damocles hanging by a thread, waiting to harass me some more. So, but I don't have an army. I don't have an army to round up all these people and charge them with these civil rights violations, which would include the President of the United States, a lot of senators, a lot of congressmen, maybe the whole kit and caboodle of them. Doesn't matter. All three branches of the government taken into custody and held up for trial, each one of them for not contributing the right things to their high-sounding words, because they don't walk their talk. They walk an aisleway of contradiction and compromise, and that's just not right. Especially when people like me are dying, people like me are being taken advantage of over and over and over again. Yeah, we have an evil system of government for people like me, and there's a lot of people like me. People on fixed income. I can't. The economy is so bad. Nobody's buying stuff, even if I put stuff up for sale. They aren't buying. They're just barely trying to stay alive, to keep whatever business or lifestyle they have going. They're just trying to keep that moving at a normal rate of speed, and people like me are just forgotten about. Not even YouTube can help me. Doing all these videos, all I get is people saying, right on, they make a comment, they do this, they say that, but it doesn't help. You know, who's got the money to help me leave this crappy country before I die here? I don't get along with the people here. There's nothing really exemplary about them. There really isn't. You've got a terrible track record of peace versus war. What reasons would I have to have any faith in anything anybody says? That's why I have the comment thing, the little box thing here, usually to my side, to the side of me. I usually have it over here saying, why don't you hack the White House phones and tell them who I am, and tell them they're the ones who need their heads examined, and they're the jerks, and they're the idiots, and all they have is a dual dictatorship. Actually, it's a dual dictatorship supported by the media through the big money that they spend through the media for their sponsors. It's insane. The whole thing it's wacky. The whole thing needs to be changed, and instead of people thinking about it and going, you know, maybe this guy's right, we got to change it across the board. Obama hasn't done. He promised all these changes. Yeah, right, all in the wrong direction. No, excuse me, no. In the Bilderberg direction, in the Trilateral Commission direction, in the Rockefeller direction. It doesn't matter what you hear on the news. What really counts is what's being talked about behind closed doors in secret. That's what counts. The secrecy of the meetings in the Bilderbergers, the secrecy in the meetings of the Trilateral Commission. They don't have media cameras there either. These people are like worse than slimy snakes in the grass. And the richer they get, the more slimier they get. Not one of them has come forward and said they'd like to help me. Because as far as they're concerned, they can say that I'm worthless and that no one is listening to me anyway. But boy, they'd sure be helping me right away if I had 1 million people showed up in Washington, D.C. and people saying, we want Caesar for emperor. Screw you. We're tired of it. If they had all people in every city of every state of the Union just go out into the street into the hundreds of thousands, or up into at least 1 million people all on the streets everywhere, there wouldn't be enough cops to deal with it. That's when they start their plan of trying to figure out how to put all those people away that don't want to disperse into the concentration camps that they've built already. So they rule by fear. That's what they rule by. They rule by fear, by zero tolerance, by prejudicial application of their laws, by not thinking before they act, thinking only about going by the book and prejudicially hurting people, and them being able to walk away said, the law says I can do that, and I'm not guilty of anything. That's what they'll say. I'm not guilty of anything. I beat that guy's head in. I'm a police officer. Bang, bang, bang. I did all that, but it's okay because the law says I can protect myself, and I can do that to take someone into custody that's being belligerent or ornery or uncooperative. Like the poor schizophrenic guy they beat to death in Fullerton. So, it's now 11 minutes. It's 9 o'clock. And I'm going to have to probably go now. So, there's not much else left to say right now because I've got to figure out how to compose my next video in my brain and what date to pick to make the 12th challenge to debate, challenge to Obama and Romney and any other candidate that doesn't want to give up to a debate on stage. What are they scared of? I don't understand. I don't have a chance of getting elected. I mean, Ross Perot appeared on stage with Bush and Clinton. He didn't get elected. So, third-party candidate, so they called it. But, I'm not so interested in being a candidate as I am putting the screws to these two guys and then walking away and saying, can I please go now? Do I have to have a passport and pay money just to leave this crappy prison on death row that I'm on? Because that's what I'm on. I'm on death row here in the United States. For me, this is death row. I don't like your laws. I don't like anything that you people do. You've stolen everything precious from me. But the most precious thing you stole from me is all the years that I devoted and sacrificed to try and build that dream in Colorado. Instead, I hear this news about some guy that walks into a theater and shoots a bunch of people. And I know, even before 1996, I know I had the capability to have stopped all that. And there was nothing I could do because people didn't care to listen to me. They only listened to me at that radio station in Kansas City, Missouri, where I got more than 90% of the vote on 4 different debates against 4 different candidates, unknown candidates. That I got more than 90% of the vote by the rush hour crowd that listens to that radio station. All those 4 debates. My God, can you think what would have happened if I could have stood on stage against Bush and Kerry that night? I probably would have slammed dunked both of them, and everybody would have said, you know what, we're going to elect this guy as president. And if I'd been elected in 2004, none of the things, these shootings and stuff would have happened because I would have set the wheels in motion finally. But another thing that would have happened since Bush had started the war, I would have ended the terrorism within the first, 6 months of my term in 2005. That's how history would have been if I had been on stage that day. But I wasn't. Like I said, the media is bought and paid for, and I don't have a chance of doing anything with the rest of my life. So if I never visit a doctor and I finally fall sick and I'm dying, fine, let me die, because I don't want to live anymore. This is an evil place with evil, zero-tolerance rules. Nobody wants to work with you on anything. It's just evil. For me personally, this has been a place of poison. The last 10 years being the worst.